All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Gediminas, and today's topic is personal branding fundamentals. So, many of us have heard of a personal brand or of a company brand, right? Like a lot of us know about big brands, like Apple or Microsoft or, IBM and so on, right? But nowadays, what we see more and more are the personal brands. So where some time ago, maybe 20 years ago or so, brands were usually big companies with, big advertising budgets and so on, right? But today, what we see on social media, like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, etc., is people building their personal brands. And, again, what we're seeing is that the personal brand then helps the business brand. How many of you know of Elon Musk? And a lot of people buy Tesla because it's made by Elon Musk. You know what I mean? Or used to buy iPhone because it was the Steve Jobs behind the brand, or, you know, we could go on and on and on, talking about these people who are now build huge personal brands, which then help them to build very big business brand, right? Or help their business, right? So for us as network marketing professionals, this I think is vital because we don't really promote our company, right? Because we are an independent business partner and yeah, we're building team with the company, we're selling the products for the company, but reality is that we are building our own personal brand, right? Because you know, people don't join the company or don't join the product, they join a person, a leader, right? And thinking about the fact, that, okay, well, hang on a second, but if we all have the same company, we all have the same products, and there are millions of people working with this business, so how will ever anybody buy from me? Why would anybody join my team? Bingo. That's the right question. And the answer is your personal brand. So when you build your personal brand, then people want to join your team, not any other team. People want to buy from you, not from anybody else, right? So how can you build this brand? Well, let's have a look at some fundamentals for brand building. Now, that's not everything you could learn about brand building, right? But these are some of the important things. And number one in this list is in, and by the way, the list is in no particular order. It's not like from most important to the least important. It's just the things that you might want to consider when building your personal brand. And number one is the niche or your passion. Now, quite often it can actually match, right? So for example, because in our business we have perfumes, we have cosmetics, we have food supplements, so you might want to build a brand of beauty and health and wellness and something like that, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to be that, right? Your brand could be fashion, where you talk about fashion and then you transition into your product. Or your brand could be sports, where you talk a lot about sports and how you exercise or yoga or whatever, and then you transition into the product. Once you become that person of influence, right, in that particular niche, in that particular topic, then people will trust your recommendation for other things too, right? So if they respect you and listen to you and follow you in your particular niche, and let's say you're into gardening, right? You're growing tomatoes at home, you're growing cucumbers and all the other stuff, right? Amazing. You could become, your personal brand could be gardening. But then people who follow you would find out that, hey, you also recommend, food supplements. You also recommend a way to earn extra income from home. And because they already trust you on that particular brand, they're more likely to trust you with earning extra income with you or joining your team or buying from you, right? And, your personal brand could be personal development. Your personal brand could be business, right? So there's so many different ways how you can niche down and build an audience of people who are interested in that particular topic. Number two question here is, what do you want to be known for? Right? So do you want to be known like the perfume lady? Or do you want to be known as the healthy cooking person? Or the business and personal development person, right? Whatever it is, that will become your personal brand. Like they say, your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not around. That's your personal brand. That's what people say when you leave the room. That's your personal brand. So what do you want to be known for? Because this is not outside of your control. Now, you can't control what other people think of you and so on, but you can control what brand are you building? What reputation are you creating? Number three, which can be a little bit controversial, is what do you stand against? Right? So maybe you're against poverty. Maybe you're against women being paid less than men. Maybe you're against, wasting money on advertising and celebrity endorsements. Maybe you're now, not everybody have to agree with you on that particular point, right? But again, it shows, it builds your personal brand. Because like another way of explaining a personal brand is attracting people you want and repelling people you don't want. So nobody will have a personal brand where everybody likes them. You're always going to have a personal brand that some people like and some people don't, and that's good. Number four, always bring value. There's this saying where they say, don't try to be a person who is liked, be the person who is valuable. Now, the best personal brand to have is of a person who brings value. And if we talk about social media, what's the value? Well, the value is information, right? Useful, interesting kind of information that people want to come again and again and again and listen to you, right? So again, like depending on the topic you choose, it could be tips about health, or it could be tips about, beauty, or it could be tips about personal development, or it could be tips about business, or whatever it is. Now, some time ago, you could have said, yeah, but I don't know nothing about that, or I don't have enough ideas to talk about that topic. Now that excuse is over because you all know where you need to go, right? And it's not Google anymore. You need to go to ChatGPT, right? You go to ChatGPT and you write down, please give me 50 topics for a 1-minute video or for a post in the topic of health or topic of business or about network marketing. And it will go ahead and write for you 50 topics, 100 topics, how many you want. It will write them for you. So you now can never run out of ideas to speak about, or to write a post about, or to make a story about, or to do a reel about, or to do a live broadcast about, right? But you should be the person who always brings in the value. And the next point goes together with this. It's consistency. So you not only you should be bringing value, you should be doing it consistently. Look at the biggest brands on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, and I'm talking personal brands, right? People who have created a podcast or whatever, like people like Joe Rogan, right? Or Patrick Bet Davis, the valuetainment guy. Or, there's just so many. We could go on and on and on talking about these people like Tom Bilyeu, with the impact theory. Or, again, like so many different people created millions and millions of followers, hundreds of thousands or millions of views on their videos. And these people 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago, nobody knew about them. They didn't exist on the internet. And now they're like household name. They're like some of the most influential people around the world. Not because they're the smartest person, but because they kept bringing the value day after day, week after week, month after month, until the followings grew. And if you look at each of their individual stories, they will say to you, oh, for the first 6 months, we could barely get any views. For the first year, only a couple of people were following us. But because they kept doing it month after month, year after year, consistently, now they've built a brand which is household name. Now they built a brand where everybody knows who they are around the world. And, even, presidents ask for their favors, and to be advertised and so on, right? So that's how powerful your personal brand can become. So imagine you become a person who is followed by thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people who listen to you, trust you, you know, um, respect you. Do you think it would be easier than to recruit to your network marketing business? Do you think it would be easier to sell the product? Of course, because now you're not fighting against the stream, right? Where like a lot of people who just join network marketing, what do? They go online and just spam, 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 right? And they're like, oh my gosh, why nobody's buying? Why nobody's joining? Because they don't know you, they don't trust you, they don't like you, right? Like you haven't built that personal brand, right? Now, granted, some people, they've built their personal brand outside of business, right? Like just by being a nice person, just by helping everybody out and all of their life being really kind person. And then they come and join the business, they start talking about it and everybody wants to join them. Why? Because again, they've built a personal brand of a nice, helpful, kind person throughout their life, right? Outside of social media, right? And now their friends and family and work colleagues just want to help them, right? But we're talking mostly about social media here, right? Number 6 is entertainment. And I had to wrestle with this for a while because when I first started on TikTok, which was probably about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, we started doing these funny videos during the pandemic, and we started getting loads of views. Like some of the videos, tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, lots of followers. But then I sort of realized that those people are not my target market. Like they are following me because they want to laugh, not because they want to join the business. They want to laugh, not because they want to buy a product. And I sort of made a decision that, like, oh no, 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 don't do funny stuff. Like I stopped doing funny videos. We just focused really on like personal development, on business, etc. And it worked. Those people left and new people came in who are actually interested in the business, interested in personal development, interested in earning extra income and so on. And actually my strategy, what was in my head, actually was right. However, the more I sort of got to know about TikTok and other social medias and how it all works, especially with short videos, we've realized that, and our mentor Fraser Brooks always says that funny makes money. But it has to be sort of a blend between funny and your topic. Because if you just go on social media and you just tell jokes all day long, then yeah, you're going to build a huge audience of people who are really into jokes, but a very small percentage of those people will be looking to join your business or to buy a product, right? Because it's like totally unrelated, right? Like you're talking about one thing and that's completely different, right? However, I've realized that there's lots of different funny ways how you can put across business, how you can put across your product, right? Where it becomes like it's still funny and it sort of gets people hooked in, but then it talks about what you want to talk about, right? And like let me show you a little example, right? Like it's in Lithuanian, so I'll play it without the sound, but you don't really need a sound to understand what I'm doing there, right? So like one of the videos, let me just quickly, oops, right? So here's a short video where I'm selling a course, right? And I start the video with the wig, and these crazy glasses and this huge gold chain on my neck, right? And that sort of catches people's eye, right? Now that's funny, right? Like, well, at least in my head, it's funny. Like, not everybody might agree with that, right? But like for me, that's funny, right? But what happens is that people now see that it hooks them in, but then I go and actually talk about becoming more confident and building your self-worth. So it's actually related. Like I'm not scared of, looking like an idiot, right? Because I'm confident about what I do, right? Like I've got high self-worth where, somebody's criticism is not gonna destroy me, right? Or, a video or something like this where, you know, um, I talk about my book, right? Right. So you might have seen these videos where they join few videos together, like something like this, right? So again, it's like where you put two videos together, right? Like something like funny. Like some people might not say it's funny, like a donkey flipping over or a bull hitting a person, right? And again, basically, I saw a car dealership in USA doing that, where a bull hits a man, and then they split the video, and the lady goes boom into a car and goes, "Hey, we've got a special offer on the Chevrolet, whatever," right? Like, and I thought, oh, that's genius, right? It's funny, it catches people's attention, but then it's still related to what you talk. And literally in that video, like where the donkey turns over and I turn over and I go, don't be an ass, like get this book, and it's going to help you in the business, right? So you join the two together, right? You still make it related. So it's not like you're going to get millions of followers who just coming for a laugh, but you're going to catch attention of your target audience, and you're going to, put some humor in it, right? So again, there's so many different ways how we can entertain our audience, but still stay relevant on our topic, right? And then number 7 is platforms. So, don't be a person who lives on one platform, right? You want to be everywhere. You want to be multi-platform person. You want to be on Facebook, you want to be on Instagram, you want to be on TikTok, you want to be maybe on LinkedIn, maybe you want to be on Pinterest, or maybe you want to be on YouTube, etc. Now, I'm not saying you have to go and start on all of those platforms at the same time, because it can be a bit overwhelming, right? But you can start on one platform, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. And once you got the hang of it, then you can put the same content onto other platforms, right? Like that's how I did with my TikToks and my Reels, because TikTok was around for about a year or so. I've been posting on TikTok, and then Instagram and Facebook introduced Reels. So I've already had like 100 videos done that I could just go ahead and now reuse them on Facebook Reels and Instagram Reels, right? So a lot of this work we already done, we can just use it on other platforms too, or I can do a Facebook Live and then save that live and put it on YouTube. Or I can do an Instagram Live and save that live and put it on TikTok, right? So there's ways how you can, be between platforms and reach even more people without necessarily putting in more work. But, at the end of the day, you want to be visible on as many platforms as possible. Also, sometimes we know that people lose their profiles or get hacked in, etc. So again, if everything is just on one platform, on one profile, and somebody steals that profile from you, then you've lost everything. But if you're on 3 or 4 different platforms, still it's going to hurt if somebody like hacks your profile, or a platform blocks your profile. But at least you've got other couple of profiles where you can still keep posting, keep attracting people, keep selling, keep building the business, right? And then the final fundamental of personal branding is start messy. And that, goes out to all of you perfectionists, like who go, oh, I need to like really, really know this thing, from A to Z before I start. Or I really need to be an expert. This is one of the biggest myths in social media or personal branding, that, oh, I have to be an expert before I start teaching other people. That's a lie. And on this recent trading, I heard a very good saying, people follow the person with a flashlight. If it's dark and somebody has a flashlight, everybody follows that person because at least they can see, but they don't an expert, they just know the next step, right? So same way, you don't need to be an expert in health to start teaching about health. Like you don't have to go to medical school for the next 9 years in order to start sharing tips about health. You just need to know more than the person who doesn't know anything. You don't need to be an expert in business in order to start sharing business tips. You just need to share something that you found out that somebody else might not know. You get what I'm saying? So you don't need to wait 5 years before you start sharing that value. You just need to start messy. Now, like again, how often we stop ourselves because, oh, my phone is a little bit old, or I don't have the right microphone, or I don't have the right ring light, or, I haven't got the right hairdo or makeup, or, my house is not the nicest house in the world. Or, you know what I mean? Like we can always find an excuse why not to do it. But the key is here is just start messy. I remember when I first started doing lives, quite often, because I committed to doing it every day, sometimes I would be getting home and it's like 11 o'clock at night. And I would just do a video in my car because it's like late. I don't want to wake up the family. Or, when we bought this house, it was all like under refurbishment, so we were fixing this house up and I would finish at night, fixing the house. I would get in a car because the car was the only clean place. Like in the house, there wasn't a single corner where there wasn't like something hanging, the wires or the walls ripped off or whatever, right? And I just had to make do, right? But messy is better. Like doing done imperfectly is better than not done perfectly. Because in your head it might be all perfect, like one day, like I'm gonna put everything together, oh my gosh, this is gonna be insane. But that day never comes, you know what I mean? So it's better to start doing whichever way you can, and then slowly learn how to do better and better. The quantity is more important than the quality. You start with the quantity, and then as you do those reels, you get better doing reels. As you do those lives, you get better at doing lives. As you keep writing those posts, you get better at writing posts, and so on and so on and so on. As you more communicate with people over Messenger, you get better at communicating with people. You learn what works, what doesn't work. I say this thing, they run away from me. I say this thing, they lean in. Okay, say less of that thing and say more of this thing. You know what I mean? Start messy, but start building your personal brand now, because a year from now, you'll wish you started today. A year from now, you'll be thanking yourself because you already have 3,000 followers, 5,000 followers, 10,000 followers. And by the way, in a year's time, it's not unheard of. It's not very difficult to get 10, 15, sometimes even 20,000 followers in 1 year's time. But again, like I talk about this quite often lately, that most people don't stay consistent for a year in their business. They have never done a full year consistent action in their business. They keep stopping, they keep stopping, they keep stopping, they keep getting distracted, they keep whatever, right? And that's why they never see the results. And they can spend decades in network marketing still without any real income, without any real result. And they can blame the company, the product, the compensation plan, the economy, the politics, everything, right? But reality is that in the last 10 years, they have not done one solid year where they would do activity every single day for 365 days. And think about it. It applies in all areas of life, not just business. It applies in relationships, in health, in fitness, in everything. Imagine if you ate just good food for a year. Imagine if you exercised, you went to the gym for a year. Imagine if you, like, said I love you to your partner and brought flowers for a year. What would happen in those areas? What about finance? If you started like literally saving every single day, and trying to earn more money every single day for a year, right? Same in your business, right? What if you messaged people every day? What if you posted a post every day? What if you put a picture every day? What if you did a story? What if you did a real live, etc. for a year, for 365 days? Can you even imagine how your business would look like? So that's the fundamentals of personal branding, guys. I hope this will inspire some of you to actually start building your personal brand, or if you've already been building your personal brand, maybe to crank it up a notch. I know I want to crank my personal branding up a notch. I want to be more visible. I want to pump out even more value. I want to be seen even more. So, you'll see some changes on different platforms, when you follow me, because, I want to up my game as well. I want to build even bigger personal brand. So that's our training for today.